Hey folks, I'm Gary and Carlin, Moss's Creek Outdoors. I'm out here once again today in the beautiful woods here in Tennessee. It's really a beautiful day out, and I encourage you to get out every chance that you possibly get and enjoy the outdoors to the fullest extent. Here on this video, I'm going to show you kind of the process, what I go through, and the way I do it when it comes to harvesting your own walking stick or hiking staff. I'm going to show you kind of the process of taking a rough staff like this and turning it into something like this. What this is a straight type staff. This has been whittled and peeled down, and you can see I wrapped a handle on it out of cord here, and I cut this short section out of another bush that's got this twist on it. Some of these trees, saplings, and bushes out here throughout the woods, you will see with this twist on them. That's where, over time, that sapling or whatever has been being attacked by a honeysuckle vine. So, what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you kind of starting out what type of tools I have and what I look for when I go out here, looking for a stick, looking for something that I think will make a good stick. You got to learn to look for shapes, look for sizes, anything unique, anything that kind of catches your attention, that's got a unique shape or a twist or something to it, something that you like. My number one tool within all these is going to be these folding pocket saws over here. If you're going to spend time in the woods and you're going to be thinking about cutting anything, you got to have one of those in your pocket. That's number one. Of course, you're going to need a knife. This is just one that I carry a lot. This is an old hickory knife that I turned into a bushcraft knife. This saw, I like this saw pretty good. This is the Grizz saw by Outdoor Edge. It works nice for cutting sticks. Folding saws, there's a large variety of folding saws. You can get them just about anywhere, Lowe's, any type of gardener's or orchard supply. I believe this is a Ozark Trail folding pocket saw. Now this red and black one, this is the Corona folding saw. I got this one at Lowe's. It's my favorite overall. I mean, you can literally cut firewood with this saw. It's unbelievable what it'll cut. Of course, a pair of pocket snips is handy for cutting off any small limbs or stuff up and down the sides of what's going to be a stick. And these are Red Devil paint scrapers. These works wonders when it comes to cleaning up a stick, cleaning the body of it up all the way around, coming up, scraping down, pulling down, scraping the sides. This is a little small one for getting in small areas and making little short strokes with. I don't use it as much as I do the red one. That's a much larger one, but this red one, I use it a whole lot, and it's amazing what it'll do. And I'll show you about that here shortly. But like I say, the folding pocket saw is one of the handiest tools you'll have in the woods with you at all times, no matter what you're doing, camping, hunting, hiking, whatever. You need to have one of those in your pocket. It comes in handy a lot of times. Just like I said, you can get those at a lot of different places, garden supplies, outdoor supplies, orchard supplies, whatever it might be. So I'm going to show you about a couple of dozen of finished walking sticks and staffs here shortly that I have kind of decorated up and finished up from over the last year or two. Now my intentions is to go a little ways right up into that area and see maybe if I can find a stick or two. Might find something already dry, or I may even cut a green one. And I'll show you the process, how I work it on that as well, cutting a green hiking staff. When I get up into the woods like this, what I begin looking for is anything that's got a unique curve or a shape or a twist. I'm also looking for anything that's really straight. And I'm also paying attention to anything that's laying down or that's not green, that may already be dry and ready to work with. I think I've spotted a nice straight one right there, and that's an ironwood too. That makes a really good stick, really strong, and it's pretty when it's finished down. I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut that one. It's green, but I'm gonna show you just exactly what I do here when I cut a green hiking staff. Alright, what I like to do is, when I cut a stick, whichever's going to be the top end of the stick that's going to be up here closest to my face when it's finished, I like to turn and I like to put that end down to the ground and turn what's going to be the bottom end up toward me. That gives me an idea of how long that I need to leave it. And when you cut one that's green, you need to cut it approximately 5 to 6 inches long on both ends. The reason for that is when it dries out, the ends of it is most likely going to crack. So you let it crack and then come back after the stick dries out and cut the ends off and cut it down to the exact specific length that you want. And then you can have a stick that doesn't have any splits or busted places in the ends. So I'm gonna cut it about right here. So you can see how tall it is. I left it way tall. It'd probably be about here when finished. So that's giving me about an extra 6 or 7 inches to work with on each end of the stick. So that way you can come back and cut it off after it dries out, and you'll have good clean ends that's not busted or cracked. I've got one found about a ridge or two over that's got like a L handle on the top of it that I'm gonna go over and cut here in a few minutes. All right, I'm gonna go up here on the edge of a ridge here, and I'm gonna cut a walking stick with a 90-degree turn, like a handle on the top of it. It's going to be right there. So you can see this stick's got a nice handle up here on the top of it. I believe this is an Ellum, best I can tell. Be a good strong stick. So based on the length of it, I'm gonna cut it off as close to the ground right here as possible. When I cut this handle off, you know, it will originally be about only right here when it's finished. I want to cut it on up here for right now, so I'm gonna cut it about right here. gonna look like that. So like I say, when it's finished, you can see I'll cut it off about right here. So I'm leaving probably 4 to 5 inches extra right here in case it wants to bust in the end when it dries. That right there, that'll be a nice stick. And get that done. It's a perfect 90-degree turn right there. So I'm gonna go on up through here somewhere, see if I can find another one. I found one right here. This is a alum, or I think kind of what everybody around here knows as a eastern hop horn beam. Gonna be this one right here. And the reason I like it is, you see it's got a little turn, kind of a little turn for a handle, which will be the top of it right down there at the ground. So I'm gonna cut that one. But again, what's gonna be the handle on this stick is right down at the ground. So I wanna cut this one off as close as possible as I can to the ground. Another thing, while sawing, try not to crack it when you cut it off. Try to, even if it takes it, cut a little bit on both sides, but try not to crack it if you can. All right, now again, I'm gonna keep the bottom end of that stick on the ground, and I'm gonna hold it up here beside me. So it'll probably end up being about chest high when finished. So I'm gonna go on up and I'm gonna cut it right along about right here. So now you get a better understanding of what I was talking about when it comes to how it had that little turn at the top. That makes a good handle right on the top end up here. And that will be cut probably right here when it's finished. It'll have about 2.5 inches taken off of it after it dries out. I'm gonna go back down here to my campsite, and I'm gonna show you just exactly what I'm gonna do with a stick like this after I get it cut and get back to where my other tools are. All right, I've made it back here to my spot. I'm gonna show you further about what I do when it comes to actually doing more to these sticks as far as getting them finished. You'll want to start, kind of getting them trimmed and cleaned up. Like this is the one there a minute ago that I cut with this handle on it. First thing that you want to look at is knots and limbs and different stuff that are on them. Like any small limbs, you're going to want to cut those off and kind of trim it up. Again, this one's got to dry. I didn't find no dry staff today that was ready to work with or ready to finish out to say. But a lot of times you will find something that's dry and dead, but it's still standing. And it may have been standing, for 2 or 3, 4 years or more. And something like that, it can be really dry, and ready to work with when you find something like that. And if you find something that's dead and dry and it's still got some of the old bark on it, and that sometimes that hard bark is difficult to get off of the body of the stick, you can soak that stick. Maybe, let it soak for 5 or 6 hours in a barrel of water, or you can soak a bunch of towels and wrap the stick up in those towels and let it sit for 3 or 4 hours. A lot of times that that old hard, dry, dead bark, you know, it'll come off much easier that way. But you know, when they're green like this, you can get them trimmed up and get them ready to a certain extent. But again, you can't completely finish them like you want, like a handle like this. You can't come in here like now and cut it off right here, you know, where you want it, because the end of it up here is going to be cracked if you do that. And it's going to be the same with the bottom down here. So basically with this stick right here, the way it is right now, it's probably going to be 5 or 6 months before I can finish this stick. But what I am going to do to it right now, I'm going to this Red Devil paint scraper. And I'll just show you right here. Other than taking my knife and trying to get all this bark off, I mean, yes, you can do that. But it takes much, much longer. Watch this. Now, as you can see, look at that. I've done peeled nearly half of the bark off of that whole entire stick. I'll keep going right here and show you. This is laying it down. Now, this paint scraper don't normally come that sharp. All I've done is I have took this thing and just set it down this way. Just barely set it down against my belt sander and let my belt sander pass this way up here on the top of it. And it gets both of these edges extremely sharp. And any of the little knots, like right here, right there, later on in time, I'll trim those knots down good and smooth them down. But that grabs every single thing on the outer wall of that stick. It's unbelievable how clean that it gets it. It's almost like scraping it with a piece of glass or something. You can see I'm coming on down, almost down to the bottom already down here. But right now, because this is a green stick, I'm just getting the roughest stuff off. I'm not concentrating on getting every last thing off of it right now. I'm just getting the rough. That's all the way to the bottom end. Now I come up here. Get the handle. You can see how quick that is. But it is amazing what these Red Devil paint scrapers will do. This is a vintage paint scraper. I don't think you can buy them just exactly like this anymore. If you find one of these, it's probably going to be maybe at some type of antique shop or a auction maybe, or something like that. When you go buy a Red Devil paint scraper, it's probably going to look like this nowadays. This is the newer one, and I've sharpened this one. This one is much wider. I don't use this one as much as I do the other one, but I do use it. But I like that red one because it's only like 1.5 inches wide. But as you can see now, I've stripped that whole stick. I'm just gonna lean that stick up inside my building or something, you know, and forget about it for 4 or 5 months. When it dries out, that's when I'll come back and cut it off about right here and have about a, you know, 4.5, 5-inch handle on the top of this stick here. And I may trim it down just a little bit, make it smaller diameter on the bottom down here. I will actually cut part of this off. I may cut, you know, 4 or 5 inches off of this because I did leave it long for the, you know, so it can dry. So, and here's this this straight stick that I cut. This Eastern hop horn beam. Of course, you wanna get all the little limbs trimmed off of it. And I got this little handle that's gonna be on the top end of it. We're gonna get it trimmed up first. And again, we'll get our paint scraper. If that don't beat whittling that off of there with a pocket knife, I don't know. This stick is green also, so I'm not worried about trying to get everything off of it right now. Eventually, I will come back with a belt sander and I will sand all the knots down. I'm just kind of showing you the main beginning process here on, you know, having some fun, going out and finding your own stick. And of course, a lot of people, you know, in the ending, after their sticks are dry and they're ready to finish them, you know, a lot of people may want to do wood carving and carve a feather or a leaf or some kind of face or in the side of it or something like that. Some people may want to do some wood burning. You know, that's all right too. Some folks will also do what's called inlay on sticks. Sometimes you'll find sticks that's already dry and they may have a crack in the side of them. Well, you can use different glues and different stuff and granules and powder. You can get like powdered turquoise and you know, fill in cracks and, you know, fix the stick and turn it into something pretty using inlay. As you can see, I done scraped that whole stick as well. And that's the one gonna have the handle on the top of it. It'll end up being cut off about right here. So that's pretty much how to you know, take them down and get them ready to go to the next step. So I'm gonna jump over here and I'm gonna show you some sticks that I've completely finished here over past pretty good while. All right, this is a stick I had at the beginning of the video. I believe this one is the bottom portion of it is a poplar. I wrapped some cord on it for the handle up here, and I cut this short section, a twist, off of another tree and put on top of it. And how you do that when you put something on top of something like that, or fasten two different pieces together, is a hole was drilled into the top of the stick and this piece too, and there's like a piece of 3/8 steel rod that's inside there, and then it's glued together. This stick actually I found was whittled down by a beaver, and I painted it, so I didn't have to do nothing to it. It's birch, it was done dried out, the whole thing done peeled by a beaver. This little straight staff is a hazelnut bush. Done dry, it's light. It seems like it's really tough. It's just a nice lightweight staff. Now this is an ironwood staff, much like one of the ironwoods you see up at the end that I just cut there a few minutes ago. This one is completely peeled with varnish on it, and the black bands around it is where I burned it with a torch and flamed it going around through there. And tip, it's got a tip on it. That's another option with sticks, is rubber tips. You know, some people don't want tips. I like tips because I like them when it feels like, you know, it's soft when they hit the ground. This is a poplar staff that I flamed the rings around with the torch. You can see at the top of it up here, it's got a little turn on it, kind of like that stick I cut there a few minutes ago. Got that little turn, you know, for a handle right on the top. But there's a lot of things you can do. You know, you can drill a hole up here in the top of them. You know, you can inlay a marble or a piece of turquoise, or put the head stamp, you know, the brass part off of an old shotgun shell up on the top of them. This is a little hickory staff, and you can see how I finished the knots down on there. There's where a knot was right there. There's another one. I like to make them look good where the knots was, and in the ending I will sand those just flush down with the body of the stick. This is a hazelnut bush. You can see how straight it is. It's really slender, really light, feels really tough. And this is kind of what they call a thumbstick, because it's got the little yoke right on the top of it. And I have whittled that out to where my thumb will go through at the top of it. That's why it's called a thumbstick. And I wrapped a little cord handle on it right there. But tough, as you can see, really straight. This is a elm stick. This one's got a little bit of character to it. You can see it's pretty straight, but it's got a little turn right out there on the end. It turns and then turns right back straight. So I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, the whole thing relatively straight, and then it's just got the little turn right down at the end. So here's another ironwood stick. This one has got kind of, as you can see, kind of the curve handle on the top of it. It's not perfect straight. It's got a little bit of a all around curve in it. It fits really well in the left hand, I do know. Here's another elm. This one's got like a little turn, plus like a little knob up on the top of it. Works really good in the left hand also. And I'm not sure what this stick is. I made this one a couple of years ago. It seems to be tough, lightweight, and like I mentioned there a minute ago, see, I put the old shotgun shell head stamp up on top of it there, and I also carved a turkey feather in the side of it right there. Along with one of the old man faces. I think some people calls them like a wood spirit or something like that. But you know, you can put a little time into something, and you can create something that, you know, that you're proud of, especially if you're wanting to, you know, dress something up and maybe create a gift for someone. Now this is a very, very beautiful stick. This is a stick, of course, that was being attacked by a honeysuckle vine. This was a old-fashioned sourwood tree. We have sourwoods here in these parts in Tennessee. A lot of the old-timers knows sourwoods as being good den trees for honeybees. But you can just see what a twist, what a massive, massive twist. That vine tries to grow into that tree, you know, as it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that tree keeps squeezing and squeezing and squeezing, trying to get out from under that vine. But a very, very beautiful piece. And of course it takes longer than just a little while, you know, to get something whittled out and look like that. And you can't always do it, but you know, the biggest part of the time when I work one like that, I try to use some kind of a metal pick, maybe like an ice pick or something, and I try to get as much of that vine up out of that opening between there as I can. As a matter of fact, an uncle of mine, he whittled one like this one time, and when he got done with it, he made this whole twist look like a snake, and then whittled his head out up here on this end. But that's a very, very beautiful stick. Oh, this is a maple stick. It's just got a little small twist all the way down it from one end to the other. And I left the bark only on the twist. This is another beautiful stick. This is a poplar stick. Now you can see I got every bit of the vine out of that one. Here's another sourwood stick. This one's smaller diameter. But I got it because of the twist. It twists all the way to the tip. And I formed a T at the top with a piece of deer antler and wrapped some leather beneath it. Oh, that's another maple stick with a twist on it. You see it's got a little turn on it, but it goes back straight right there at the end. And I left just a little bit of the bark to make it look like a collar around the end of it. This was probably the first walking stick that I ever cut in my life. When I started cutting sticks. This is an ironwood. It really caught my attention. It had such a massive, massive twist on it there. And this is another sourwood stick. I left the bark only on the twist. And this one last stick here, again, this is a really beautiful one. This is a old-fashioned sourwood as well. A really, really beautiful twist. Well, folks, that's pretty much the run through on me showing you exactly what I do as far as harvesting my own walking stick or staff. And I think it'd be a lot of fun for you. Pack a picnic lunch, with some family or whatever it might be, and go out to your land or some public land somewhere, and just like I say, pack a lunch and have fun, and get you a pocket saw and do some walking around. See if you can find a stick of your own to turn into some type of masterpiece. So I encourage you to get out and get involved with any outdoor activity, whatever that it may possibly be out there in today's great outdoors. And I hope that you enjoy it as much as I do. I'm Garen Carlin, Mosses Creek Outdoors, and I'll see you next time.